I thought I had meditation all figured out for about 5 years since I started, until I discovered this one missing element that just changed my entire practice forever. In my meditations, I would experience, my cells tingling. I would have mental rehearsals that were so vivid, and I would be able to drop into theta brainwaves very, very rapidly. But something still felt off. And look, don't get me wrong, I did get results. I still managed to pull myself out of 6 figures worth of debt, transform my business, some pretty wild manifestations and mystical experiences, but I was doing it alone. And looking back now, that isolation was kind of slowing down my progress. And so I want to share something with you that might completely flip everything that you think you know about meditation, or even participating in spiritual practices or doing the work as well. And I'm sure you can relate. Maybe you have an incredible breakthrough in meditation. You are buzzing with elevated energy. You have a mystical experience. And then, who do you tell? It's like your friends think you've joined a cult. Your family rolls their eyes every time you mention frequency. And now you're left celebrating these, massive internal shifts by yourself. It's similar to like winning the lottery and having nobody to call because they all think that money is evil. And so 5 years ago, I would call myself the meditation equivalent of a gym bro. You know what I mean? Meaning that I had my routine in place, down pat. I would wake up at 4 a.m. I would do the perfect meditation. I have a perfect meditation setup, noise cancelling headphones, a really comfortable chair. I would immerse myself in Joe's content and books, and I'm doing these meditations religiously, like I'm some ninja or meditation ninja of some sort. And I mean, I was committed. I had journals to track my progress. I was tracking my meditation sessions as well. And I remember one particular meditation, sitting in my room after a great meditation. But instead of feeling joy, I felt joy for about a while, and then I felt empty. I was thinking to myself, like, is this it? Is this what transformation feels like? And I was becoming this spiritually advanced hermit. And I could explain quantum physics, but I couldn't connect with another human being about what I was actually experiencing in meditation, what I was learning, things that I was learning about myself. And what I didn't realize was that this isolation wasn't just making me lonely, but it was actually limiting my results. And so this is where things got weird. After about 3 years of practicing meditation solo, or like just being on my own, I hit the ceiling, and my manifestation started getting smaller, meaning that I was just manifesting small parking spaces, like the little stuff, or what we classify as little stuff. My breakthroughs were less frequent, and then I started to doubt. And so Dr. Joe talks about how we need to break the habit of being ourselves, right? And I think what I want to emphasize enough is that other people are mirrors for our unconscious patterns. And so when I was alone all the time, no one could see my blind spots. And it's similar to like cutting my own hair while I'm blindfolded. You know what I mean? And I will never forget this one morning. I felt like I had a massive breakthrough in meditation. I experienced crying, intense shaking, literally felt like the divine was giving me a cosmic hug. And my first instinct was that, oh my God, I want to share this with someone. Like, who can I tell this to? But the closest thing was to post about it on Instagram. And I literally started typing. Just had the most incredible meditation experience. And then I stopped. And my thumb was like about to post share, like it was hovering over the share button. Because nothing says spiritual awakening like needing external validation from people from the internet. You know what I mean? And it was in that moment. It was in that moment, sitting on my phone, about to post this Instagram post. And that's when it hit me. I have absolutely no one in my real life who would understand what just happened to me. And then I felt this crushing loneliness in my chest, like a weight was pressing down on my heart. And so I finally decided to join a local meditation group because I was genuinely excited to find people who might understand this journey that I was on, right? And it's not normal meditation. Like, this meditation is next level. And so I was looking for people I could actually share these experiences with, or what I was experiencing. And so I show up to this community center, and everyone is so welcoming. We're sitting in, a circle, and we're all sharing our experiences. And I'm telling them about this incredible meditation that I had, where I felt really connected to everything, like that oneness that Joe talks about. And I'm describing it with so much joy, so much passion, enthusiasm, because it was my first time sharing it with people. And there's this woman called Sarah in the circle, and she'd been listening, and she just had like this warm, gentle smile. And then she says, "Hey, that's really beautiful. I'm curious though, like when you share, I notice that you always talk about these experiences like they are happening to you alone, like you are separate from everything else. But didn't you just say you felt connected to everything?" And then I was thinking, and then literally when she said that, I was like, wow. Even when I was describing unity and connection, I was still positioning myself as as an isolated observer of that experience, not part of that experience. Okay? And it was like me experiencing it, but I wasn't the experience itself. And so I realized in that moment is that other people reflect back parts of ourselves that we can't see. And I was like, whoa. You know what I mean? And within the first group session, I realized I had been using my spiritual practice as a way to avoid dealing with people. Okay? Because my stomach was in knots the whole time because I was so used to being in control of my spiritual experiences. And I wouldn't be able to share with my family, or I would have to keep shut because, who knows what they would think. My friends, my old friends, let's just say that. And I was just scared shitless of being seen as imperfect. Okay? And so one woman in the group, Sarah again, she shared about her, she also shared about her fear of success. And she said that she sabotages herself every time she gets close to a breakthrough because she was terrified of outgrowing the people I love. And when she shared that, I was like, whoa. I felt that when she was sharing it. It was like someone poking a bruise that I didn't know about. And I'm there thinking, I don't have that problem. While simultaneously realizing I had been sabotaging my own growth for months because I was too afraid of becoming too different from my family, right? Because I meditate, I do these spiritual practices, and they didn't. Would I be different? Unconsciously, it would be like, am I going to be different from my family? And so what I'm trying to say is we need to become conscious of our unconscious patterns. But the thing is, some patterns are so unconscious, so deeply buried, that we need other people to point them out. And they get revealed to us when we speak to other people. Because they want to be expressed. And the real magic was when we started meditating together, that was when the real magic happened. Because what I experienced next was mind-blowing. So there's 12 of us sitting in a circle inside a community center. And it smelled like old coffee and industrial carpet cleaner. And so the lights are humming slightly. I hear someone's stomach growling, and I'm thinking, this is going to be so distracting. How am I going to focus with all of these people breathing, all of these noises? But within 5 minutes, I dropped deeper than I had ever done or ever been in months of just meditating solo. It was like falling through layers of consciousness that I didn't even know existed. I'm like, whoa, it gets deeper. There's more to it. And Dr. Joe actually talks about coherent rhythms, right? Coherent heart rhythms and how they create measurable electromagnetic fields. And so they start interacting with each other. And that's exactly what happens during his retreats as well. When you get multiple coherent fields in the same space, they amplify each other exponentially. But when you experience this firsthand, oh my God, it is the difference between reading about swimming and jumping into a pool or jumping into the ocean and actually swimming. And it was one of the best meditations of my life. I experienced visions that were so clear. We weren't even doing a Joe meditation. We were just meditating. I smelled the ocean in my future reality. And that's what I've been trying to connect. And I felt connected to something bigger than myself. Not just intellectually, but in my bones, in my cells. I felt it cellularly. And so I went from being a meditation equivalent to a hermit, to realizing that I was part of this massive spiritual ecosystem. And it's like finding out that you've been trying to have a party by yourself when there's like a big party, a big rave going on next door the whole time. And all you needed to do was knock on the door, ring the doorbell. But that meditation group was just the beginning. What really accelerated everything for me was having accountability that didn't feel like pressure. Accountability that didn't feel like pressure. Because I realized that accountability isn't just about keeping your word, but it's about having witnesses to your transformation. People who could see your growth, even when you can't see it. And so, when I made commitments in front of this group, you know what I mean? A declaration, an action step, something shifted in my nervous system. And I could literally feel my posture change. My voice got stronger. It made me feel braver and stronger to be able to share with others as well. And sharing with others who I actually understood what the hell was happening. And it felt like having other people witness my commitments changed my brain chemistry in real time. It's so different. And so I told them, look, I'm committed to launching my business in front of you guys, like these 12 people. I didn't journal it. I didn't say it to my vision board. I actually told human beings. And they're going to ask me about it next week, okay? And Sarah, she looked me in the eyes and she said, all right, what's one thing that you're going to be doing next week moving forward? And I said to her, look, I'll send 5 emails out by Friday asking, if they want to work with me. And let me tell you, there is nothing like a declaration to get you to actually follow through on what you said you were going to do, on your goals. And so I sent those emails very, very quickly because I couldn't bear, showing up next week and I chickened out. Sorry, Sarah. You know what I mean? I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that to her. I don't want to do that to myself. And so what I realized was that when other people believe in your vision, oh my God, it becomes even more real inside our minds. It's like having a team of co-creators holding space for your highest potential. Even when your inner critic, that old self, you know what I mean? It's in your ear. And so within 3 months of joining this group, I had more breakthroughs than in my previous 2 years combined. Manifestations that would usually take months were collapsing into days, sometimes weeks. And so, please understand, you are not meant to do this work alone. You can if you choose to, but I don't know, it's up to you. It's so much more fun, it's so much more better with other people. For me, the missing piece wasn't another technique or deeper meditation, it was community. But I'll be honest, group work or even being in a community isn't always easy. You will get triggered. People will mirror back your stuff. You might realize that you're not as advanced as you think or thought. But we need that. We need to be humbled sometimes. Sometimes the group energy will feel off or someone will dominate the conversation. That's normal. But look, I need to be real with you for a second. The hardest part of doing this work, well, for me, is, alone wasn't just a slow progress or the invisible ceilings that I was hitting. It was having nobody to celebrate when things went right, when my manifestations occurred. Nobody to reach out to when I was experiencing a dark night of the soul, a hard moment. When you're in those low emotional states, when you are doubting everything, when you want to quit, when those old patterns are kicking your ass, that is exactly when you need support the most. But it's also when you are least likely to ask for it. And I know because I lived it for 5 years. When you are in those survival emotions, you don't want to reach out to anyone. And I would have these incredible highs followed by crushing lows. And I would suffer through those lows alone because I was too proud. I was too scared. I was too convinced that spiritual people would have it all figured out. But honestly, those survival emotions, they're so intense. They're so intense that you want to do it alone. And I don't want that for you. I want you to be celebrating your wins. I don't want you to be celebrating your wins alone. I sure as hell don't want you suffering through your struggles in silence, thinking that you are the only one who doesn't have it all figured out. And look, I eventually created my own community because I wanted to give people what I wish I had 5 years ago. And I just launched it last week. It is called the Quantum Creators Community, and it's basically what I needed back then. A place where I could share, where you can share your breakthroughs without people thinking that you've lost your mind, that you've joined a cult or you're going crazy. Where you can ask for support during tough times without judgment. Where you can experience those powerful group meditations, activations. We do activations that amplify everything. And so each week we do live activations together. And honestly, some of the most profound shifts happen not just during the sessions, but in the conversations afterwards, when people share what came up for them, what they experienced. You'll find yourself having those, wait, you experienced that too? Those types of moments. And it makes you realize, oh, fuck, I'm not crazy. I'm not alone in this. You know what I mean? Or is other people experiencing this, or is it just me? And so if you feel called to join the community, you're more than welcome to. The link is in the description. But honestly, the specific community doesn't matter. What matters is that you find your people. Whether that's my group, a local meditation circle, an online community, a forum, or even just one person who gets you in this journey, who gets what you're talking about, who you can share it with. And so if you are watching this and you recognize yourself in my story, if you have been that spiritual hermit like I was, if you've been celebrating alone, if you've been struggling in silence, just know that it doesn't have to be that way. Don't let your pride or fear keep you isolated for another 5 years like I did. Your breakthrough might not be waiting in your meditation chair or your cushion. It might be waiting in a conversation with someone who sees your potential even when you can't see it for yourself. Because sometimes we forget, we lose sight of our vision. The spiritual journey is wild enough without doing it alone. So I encourage you, share your experiences and don't struggle alone.